Hey, Davis and Christopher, and welcome you all back to another exciting segment of 2.5 Beards. I was going to record this video yesterday, actually, but then I decided I would wait until the end of the Sounders-Timbers match that happened last night, because I'd probably want to talk about it. Sounders lost again, so I don't really want to talk about it, but I still put the kit on, because I support Sounder until I die. So I got my coffee. We're doing an early morning version of this. And so, let's go. This week, I'm doing a form poetry showdown with my friend Mark. We've done these before, and basically what it is, it started about 3 years ago with Mark and I watching a lot of kung fu films and really liking poetry. And so we took one of the tropes, the stereotypes from these kung fu movies we'd watch, which is this idea of like comparing styles, you know, that like you study your style and you treat it like an art form, and you battle somebody else with a different style and see who wins. Combined with the fact that it would help us write out of our comfort zone, just become better poets by writing form poetry, which a lot of modern poets may not do. There's some that do, and so usually in times past we've said, you know, like, okay, you have to write a sonnet, you have to write a villanelle, you have to write a pantoum, or whatever it was. They would be different each time. And you could have, you know, like, most of the forms centered around a specific length. A sonnet is always 14 lines, something like that. But there was a little bit of freedom to do with what you wanted, because it was kind of just a fun thing to become better writers and be silly about it. And then what would happen is you'd write these form poems within a week, and then you'd post them on Facebook, and you'd, like, with a note that you admit defeat, that everybody else's writing was better than yours, which is kind of a silly thing. Well, this time, Mark came up with the idea for the challenge that instead of specifying the specific poem, he specified, like, the type of verse. So the first one is accented syllabic, which uses feet. Poetic feet. It's your like iambic pentameter things. Basically, it's how modern English, not the cool band, how modern English writers have been writing for a couple hundred years. So it's the idea of like an unstressed stressed or stressed unstressed. Dr. Seuss uses anapest meter, so it's unstressed unstressed stressed. So every who down in Whoville loved Christmas the most. So one of the poems has to be in that. It can be any form you like, but that's how you have to count. And it doesn't have to be iambic. It can be trochaic. You can use spondies. So that's one of them. The second one is just syllabic, where all you're doing is counting syllables. You're not looking at accents. It's not that popular in English, because English is such an accented language. Like, part of the way we speak is how our accents sound. You can hear it when you start to pay attention. I know that Japanese is a language that doesn't have a lot of those high-low accents. So, like, a haiku is just syllabic. That there are 5 syllables, 7 syllables, and 5 syllables, and because there aren't. This is speaking from a terribly generic linguistics point of view, and I'm sure there's people out there that would say Japanese actually is accented, and they're probably right. But in the poetry, you just count the syllables. And then we're, of course, writing a free verse, which seems really easy, but after you've spent a lot of time looking at the accents, can be really tough. But my favorite one, and the one I'll try to get to a little bit today, that I've never written in before, it's just counting the accented syllables, not syllables as a total or the metric feet. It's actually the way Old English used to be written. So like Beowulf is written in this sprung rhythm, they call it. So 2 lines can have completely different numbers of syllables. Like, one line could have 4 syllables, next line could have 10, but all that matters are that they have the same number of accented syllables. This is actually not written much today in terms of like contemporary literary canon. Gerard Manley Hopkins was one. He writes some really crazy poems, but it's actually really popular in hip-hop. And that's what I've been trying to do when I'm writing this. Hopefully I'll have them for you next week. Maybe I'll read one. But writing this accented verse is thinking more about hip-hop and the ways that they can sometimes fit a lot more syllables into a line than a line before. So I hope you all have a great week. Enjoy your weekend. And then in about 6 months, I'll get to talk about the Sounders again.